Hello everyone, and welcome once again to the creation page. If you'll remember the last time we were on this page, we had the poisonous metals such as plutonium, thorium, uranium-12, and other deadly metals killing the stone. The stone was eroding and decaying, and we had a result of the beginnings of soil on our earth, plus it released water. Today's video is all about how nature creates everything ecstatically. That's because nature manifests the ecstatic light of God, which centers every single cell in all of creation, whether it's a water cell inside a granite stone or whether it is plutonium itself. Plutonium is a red metal. It belongs to the red side of the seesaw. If you've been watching the other videos, you know what I mean by the red and blue. The red eternal Father and the blue eternal Mother. The mother belongs to space and the father belongs to planets. They interchange with one another. This is why planets come right out of the darkness of space, become nice and bright, and eventually resolve right back into the same place they came out of. So their tomb is actually their birthplace. If you want to think of it that way, it's the same thing as the rabbit law. The rabbit law says the rabbit consumes the grass. Now, the grass becomes chemically a part of the rabbit's body. It is transformed. Likewise, the rabbit's body is transformed into the fox's body, and the fox's body is transformed back again into the grass. But all of this is done ecstatically. The grass grows ecstatically from the warm sunshine and the cool nights in the water. The rabbit chases and runs from the fox ecstatically, giving it all it's got. All it's got is fulfilling its mental purpose. The fox, as well, is completing its mental purpose in nature. Each is a transformation. Even our earth will one day transform back into the blackness of space, only to return whenever another mother sun makes her again, and is already making planets nearest the sun will be new earths again someday. Now, the purpose of all of this is to realize that when that water was released, it was transformed from the rock out into what we now call the ocean. Well, of course, this took millions of years and lots of changes took place. I won't go into those details yet, because my main purpose of this video is to explain a misconception there is about nature. Everyone thinks of heat as being less cold, and cold is less heat. It makes sense. It looks that way, but the earth looks flat too. In other words, the flat earth is a misconception. So is the misconception about heat being less cold and cold being less heat, even though they really are that way. Yes, it is true, but you wouldn't think of yourself, if you're a man, you would not think of yourself as less woman. No, you just think of yourself as a man. If you're a woman, you don't think of yourself as less a man. You think of yourself as a woman. That's the way it is in the heat and cold. We must understand how the elements of earth, all the forms of earth, interchange sexually. That is, the eternal Father is heat, which also belong to the red hot father metals of plutonium, thorium, and uranium-12. There's lots of other stuff going on here, and the coldness of space. So you have a hot father and a cold mother involving interchanging with one another. When there is balance, it is wonderful weather. When there is unbalance, there can be terrible things going on, such as avalanches, the bad storms of earth. All this, however, is a balancing of that inner pressures that want to give out. The earth is breathing in and out, and it's wanting to explode. Every cell in your body is breathing in and out and wanting to explode. You call it life. The earth does explode, but not all at once. It explodes by giving out bodies such as your body and my body and other bodies in the universe. Now, let's move on from this to realize this is a sexual universe, and what will help you to realize is that when you see a deer, you're driving down the road and you see a deer, it's about ready to run out in front of you. That deer is running ecstatically. It's manifesting its mentality, is what I'm trying to say. Now, if you are depressed, you will act like a depressed person because you are manifesting the mentality that you are centered by. If you are fearful, you are manifesting fear because you are centered by fear. If you are manifesting happiness, it's because your fulcrum, your center of self, is that of happiness. Those elements are right there in your awareness. And that's the purpose of meditation, is to reach into the centering ecstatic self that everything else already has. Every tree grows ecstatically. Every nut falls to the ground ecstatically. Every apple falls to the ground ecstatically. Now here's our next misconception. And I want you to realize I just mentioned that misconception, and that is, it appears that apples fall to the ground. It appears that nuts off of a tree fall to the ground. It appears that when you hold out a bowl like I did, I was doing dishes the other day, and a bowl fell in the floor. A little plastic bowl didn't amount to anything, but I instantly kind of meditated and realized how wonderful life really is. Just by a simple bowl falling on the floor, I realized what went on. You see, things do not fall to earth. It makes no difference whether it's an airplane, a meteorite, or a bird, or a rock. Nothing falls to earth. What happens actually is that everything seeks its own mental oneness. If you are depressed, you seek to manifest depression. If you are fearful, you seek to manifest fear. The bowl itself sought the oneness of dense matter. So the bowl appeared to fall to the earth, but it didn't. An equal amount of earth came to the bowl and met it halfway. And that halfway point was the face of the earth. The earth is much bigger than the bowl. If the bowl was bigger and heavier than the earth would come to it. I know these are weird concepts, but I want you to understand that as the apple falls from the tree, unequal potential rolls up from it. And even after the apple rests on the ground, the gases leaving the apple, you can smell them. You can smell an apple as it is decaying or whatever. That gas is its ability to rise up. Gas seeks its own oneness, and that is to rise up. It actually is pulled up, you might think. It rises up just like steam rises up from water and becomes a cloud, and then becomes so dense it must come back down to the ground. So that's our misconception right now, and I want to clear that up because we're going to be working a whole lot further into the creation of our little earth and the purpose of all life. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful and ecstatic week. Goodbye.